Hello students. So the next subtopic in this chapter, motion and measurement of distance, is moving things around us. What do we mean by objects in movement or the objects in motion? We see a lot of things around us that is moving. Now what is happening during the moving of the objects? Or why do we say that an object is in motion? When an object is in motion, it changes its position with change in time. Suppose, for an example, if a person is walking, the person is changing its position with time, and we can say that the person is in motion. If there is a ball which is rolling on the floor, we see that the ball is changing its position with time, and we can say that the ball is also in motion. A bird, while flying, is changing its position with time, so the bird can also be said to be in motion. Now what is rest? Rest is when an object does not change its position with time. For example, if a ball is kept on the floor and is not moving, then it is not changing its position with time. Then the ball is said to be in the state of rest. Similarly, a mountain is not moving or is not changing its position with time, so the mountain can also be said to be in rest. So we have examples like a mountain or a book kept on table or a non-moving ball. All these examples are for state of rest. Now we'll try to make the motion and rest concept by these pictures. Here we see that the bird is flying, and when it flies it will change its position with time, so we can say that the bird is in motion. The same bird here on the right is sitting on the tree, so we can say that it is at rest. In the next figure we have a football which is rolling on the ground, and while rolling on the ground it will certainly change its position with time, so the ball is in motion. Here the same ball is kept on the ground, so the ball is in rest. A man, while walking, changes its position with time, so we can say that the man is in motion, and the man who is standing still is said to be in state of rest. So the pictures on the left side are showing the state of motion, and the pictures on the right side are showing the state of rest. Now what are the different types of motion that we have? You must have seen during Republic Day the soldiers march in parade, and they follow a motion, they do a motion in straight line. Similarly, on the straight road we see the traffic or the vehicles moving in a straight line. Or suppose if there is a train and there is a straight railway track, the train will be moving on it in a straight line fashion. So this kind of motion in which an object travels in a straight line is known to be linear motion or rectilinear motion. So these are the examples of rectilinear motion. Another example can be taken to be of a stone which is dropped from a height. The stone, when dropped, will straight fall to the ground, and the path that it will follow will be a straight line. So it is said to be a rectilinear motion. Now the next type of motion that we have is the motion that is performed by the blades of a fan. Students, if you observe the blades of a fan, it moves on a circular path. So this is a circular path along which the blades of the fan is moving. So in case of circular motion, the object follows a circular path. Here we have a wind vane. This wind vane also moves in a circular fashion. We have this clock where the hands of the clock move in a circular path, as in case of the fan. So this is a circular path, so it will be called a circular motion. So when an object moves on a circular path, then it is said to be circular motion. Or we can also say that when an object moves in such a way that its distance from a fixed point is always same, then it is said to be circular motion. So if the object is moving such that its distance from a fixed point, since it is a circle, its distance from a fixed point, which is here, is always going to be same. This distance, which is radius, is always going to be the same, so it is said to be a circular motion. Again, in this example of clock, we see that the hands of the clock are going to move in circular motion. The distance from a fixed point, which can be taken as the center point of this clock, the distance of the path from this fixed point is always same, which is equal to radius. So this is also a case of circular motion. So circular motion can be defined as when the motion is on a circular path, it is said to be circular motion, or when an object moves in such a way that its distance from a fixed point remains the same, then it is said to be in circular motion. Example, the motion of blades of fan, motion of wind vane, and motion of hands of clock. Next we have the motion which is performed by the planets of our solar system. Here we have Earth. We know that the Earth rotates on its axis. Now this motion is known as rotational motion. This is the axis of Earth along which it is rotating, and this rotation is known as the rotational motion. This is a merry-go-round which you might have seen in park. In the merry-go-round, the children climb on this merry-go-round, and they, along with the rotation of this merry-go-round, they enjoy and play. So here also we can say that the motion is rotational motion, where the object is moving along its axis. This is the axis of merry-go-round, and the object will be moving along its axis. Here also this is the axis, and the Earth is rotating along this axis. So this is the rotational motion. So the definition is when an object moves around its axis, it is called rotation. Rotation of the Earth or rotation of the merry-go-round, and many more examples you can take. You can also say the spinning motion of top. The way it rotates, it is around its own axis. It performs the rotation. So we can also take an example of spinning top. Now observe this picture. Here you can see that there is a jhula, there is a pendulum clock, there is a guitar, there is a ringing bell, and a tabla. Now what is so unique about these motions? When you see a jhula, the jhula moves in a to and fro manner. Like it will start from a position, and then it will move to the back, then it will come in the front, and this way it will keep on repeating its motion. So the motion is being repeated after a fixed interval of time. Again, if you see the pendulum clock, you will see that the pendulum in this clock will have the same kind of motion like that of jhula, and it will keep on repeating its movement after a fixed interval of time. The strings of guitar also, when it is played, they will show the similar kind of motion. It will start kind of vibrating, and this will be repeating its vibrations or motion after a fixed interval of time. Similarly, a ringing bell will also keep on moving like this in a to and fro manner, and it will keep on repeating its motion after a small interval of time. The tabla, when it is hit by somebody, the membrane of the tabla, that is the skin that is there on the tabla, it moves in this particular way in a to fro manner, and this kind of motion is also repetitive. So the type of motion in which a moving object repeats itself after a fixed interval of time is said to be a periodic motion. For example, as we saw so many examples, motion of a swing, motion of the needle of a swing machine also, because in that case the needle moves up and down, and it is repeating its movement after a fixed interval of time, so we can say that it is in the periodic motion. So all these images in the particular picture shows that these objects are moving in periodic motion. Now we also have examples where we see that the object is not moving in one particular kind of motion, but it is in a combination of motion. For example, if we see this football, it is moving and it is moving in a particular direction. At the same time, the movement is also happening around its axis, so it is kind of rotating also. So here we can say that the football is having a rectilinear motion and also motion along its axis, which is rotation. So it is a combination of rectilinear motion and rotational motion. Again, if we see the blades of a fan, now here the blades of a fan are moving in a circular path, so it is a circular motion as we saw. But at the same time, this fan is also rotating along its axis, which can be said to be this central point. This is the axis and the fan is rotating along this axis, so it can also be said to be in rotational motion. So the fan is also showing circular motion as well as rotational motion. Now look at these tires. The tires, they are also moving in circular motion. If we see, it's a case of circular motion as the tire is moving in circular manner, and it is also having a rotational motion. That means along its axis this tire is also rotating. At the same time, it might be showing a rectilinear motion also, because it must be moving forward, so there is a combination of rectilinear motion, circular motion and rotational motion, all three in one example. So there can be motion of objects in which we might see the combination of motions. So this was all about the topic motion, and I hope you must have understood the concepts well. Thank you.